My thoughts on the debate? Well, since you asked, I'll tell you. My initial thoughts were that I thought Trump came in strong at the beginning, and I thought Kamala came in kind of shaky and a prepared politician as she avoided answering the first question. I also initially thought that the moderators were actually going to be fair, given that the very first question they asked was top of mind for the American people. And then it devolved from there. As the 90-minute debate unfolded, it became clearer and clearer that Trump did what Trump always does and goes in unprepared. Kamala was overprepared, and the moderators were clearly on her side. Take the very first question. Kamala dodged it and instead tried to introduce herself and reflect on her upbringing in middle-class society, never mind the fact that half of that was spent in Canada. And these were her formidable years during her teenage and young adult life, and so I don't know how she can relate to growing up in America when she, again, spent half of that in Canada. But then Trump, instead of taking the time to talk, could have easily pointed out to the entire world watching that she didn't even answer the question. That would be the first of many opportunities. He could have answered it for her. He could have rattled off historic high inflation, historic high debt, home unaffordability, out-of-control immigration straining neighborhoods and cities all under her watch. Hell, he could have blamed her for it because she technically caused it. That's all he had to say, but he didn't, not till the very, very end of his closing statement. And so these missed opportunities would set the tone for the remainder of the evening and only made worse when the moderators started fact-checking Trump. They fact-checked him a total of 5 times and fact-checked her 0. Letting her get away with such lies as the Charlottesville lie, which was actually the foundation of Biden's campaign, but we can't let people know that was founded on a lie. And then lying about him being against IVF, which he has come out a few times already saying that he's fully in support of IVF. And then taking his bloodbath comments about the car industry and somehow painting a broad brush across America in a complete lie. And so it became painfully obvious that this turned into a 3v1 debate, and this bias from the moderators matters. It destroys the credibility of the entire debate, and if you don't believe me that they were biased, just know that the entire transcript of the debate was uploaded into ChatGPT, and the simple question was asked, can you detect bias? And every example that was pointed out was against Trump. And so Kamala ultimately had an easy time of it because she had help. Had Trump bothered to prepare, then he would have likely mopped the floor with her, but he didn't, and it showed. In fact, this photo behind me was one of only a couple times that Trump was able to knock her off her script when he threw the "I'm speaking" moment in her face. A few other key points before I wrap up. Kamala was well prepared, maybe over-prepared. With her facial expressions and condescending attitude, I don't know who on her staff told her to do that, but it wasn't a good look. But you could tell she was extremely well rehearsed. She kept throwing out one squirrel after another, and Trump kept chasing them all down. Which is exactly what she wanted and gave everyone on the left something to talk about. Haitians eating cats and dogs. And as wild as that claim seems, it was another missed opportunity by Trump. Instead of talking about cats and dogs, he should have listed all the names of all the Americans that had been unalived by the migrant crisis. Or if he wanted to talk about Springfield, Ohio specifically, all he had to mention was that their population has increased by approximately 40% seemingly overnight. And whenever you do that to a neighborhood, to a city, to a society, crime rises. And all anyone has to do is go watch the town's residents complain to their city council about all the issues they are having with the influx of immigrants. And that influx of immigrants is directly linked to Kamala, the border czar. She even brags about it. But instead, we're talking about cats and dogs. That said, if I were to give a grade for the debate on performance, I would give Kamala a B+, and I'd give Trump a C-, and I'd give the moderators an F. For substance, D+ across the board. And for authenticity, Trump gets an A-, and Kamala and the moderators get a D-. I'd say do better, but I know none of them will.